Hello, 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 y'all. I am fortunate enough today to be here with Miss Anouk Rizzo. I don't know if I pronounced that name, but she is from France because she is a TEDx organizer for an event in France and had a past working with TEDx Paris. And so wanted to have an international presence here on Speaking to Expand to kind of give the global perspective of TEDx. So who are you and what the heck are you doing here today?
So I'm Anouk Rizzo, great pronunciation. So effectively, I discovered TEDx when I was in training at the end of my study. I had the opportunity to include TEDx Paris, or TEDx Paris, which is big license and a big event because we have several people, but more than 1,000 that assists. And I
Wow.
began like event project manager, and I fell in love with the concept to inspire people. And when you assist to this conference, you think you're a genius and you understand everything on the world, and you get out of it, and you think that you can be something for the world. And so at each conference, you have a themes because you have to follow guidelines. And after this experience, I moved to Marseille, so in the south of France, and I had the opportunity to work for TEDx Marseille. And as a communication woman, I was in charge of journalists. So my goal was to convince them to come to the event and to speak about this. But in Marseille, it's not very famous, and the population it's not as aware as big city like Paris. But the message and the teams really show up and convince lots of people that didn't know. And I discovered that there is also a TEDx community in the south of France. So after that, I'm saying to myself that I want to be part of it and organize one day this type of conference. And I have the opportunity to enter in Aix-Marseille Université, which is the biggest university in the south and the second of France. We have 80,000 students and 10,000 people staff. So it's a big one. And we have international students. In fact, we have science, we have many searchers. So when I get in this company, I said, here I can do it. But in my team, it was not the moment. I have to find the theme, the speaker, and we have other things to do. So I was deputy manager of the communication for the university. So I say, okay, we will see later. And then one day, a searcher came to me with a recommendation of another searcher saying, Anouk, I understand that you know the TEDx conference and I want to make a TEDx in the university. Are you with me? And I say, yes, I am with you. And that's basically how the organization and my adventure as TEDx organizer began.
That's interesting. So, I was speaking with a few of the organizers of TEDx Talks
Mm,
in Portugal, and they were telling me that TEDx doesn't have the same brand awareness in Portugal as it does in the US. What
no.
is the brand awareness and cultural significance of TED and TEDx in France?
In fact, you will touch young people and we will say CSP plus, something like that. But people interested in science and or in philosophy, how we can move the world, how we can make the thing change. So you have a community, but it's not as famous. When you speak in the street, no all people will know, in fact. For example, in my family, they don't know. I have to make them discover. And I have my little cousin, he say, it's famous. And the other one said, I'm bored. Okay. Because it like elitist for us. It's a little degree of science, of knowledge. So we have to acclimate the people to entertain them and to vulgarize, in fact, the speak. So when you make a TEDx in Aix-Marseille University, all the speaker to have a speech dedicated to general audience. We didn't want to speak too much scientists. It was important for us to touch lots of people. But in the university, when we launched the inscription, it was full in a quarter. 15 minutes, it was full. It's not the same level of lessons because when you are organizer, the first thing that you have to do is to find a theme, to find a name. And then you go to the website of TED and you have to select type of license. And in function of the type of license, you have right and you have something to respect. Don't have the same when you are TEDx Paris, big one lessons like the old TEDx that you know, and TEDx in the university. It's another license. No, so we have less constraints, less things to
Mm,
respect. But in my mind, I wanted to be very, very close to the TEDx Paris. For example, they allow speak between 7 and 18 minutes. Imagine 18 minutes. You are boring. 18 minutes. Never you will listen that. So for me, the speaker had take to 8 minutes maximum, and we respect that. But in the audience, we will allow only to invite 100 people, replay and all video included. So it's very, very small, and it's up to us to make them pay or not. It's really up to us because, for example, TEDx Paris, you can invite thousands of people. You have it at the opera, at the Gaîté Lyrique. It was more than 2,000 people, and the same. It was complete in 1 hour. They make them pay because when you are TEDx Paris, you need to finance your events with what you get with the entrance. When you make a license for a university, you don't have to say how you finance your events. So we make the choice to not make people pay because we wanted to have the maximum of the students coming. And we have more than 80% of students. So it was a big success for us. And after the video was reclaimed and demanded and make the tour. So it was very good for us. But this is the difference.
and so it sounds like TEDx Paris is the biggest TEDx event in
Mm,
all of France. Is that right?
yeah, it is.
How did the speaker selection process look different for your TEDx Marseille event compared to TEDx Paris? And which parts of
Alors,
that selection did you take to use at TEDx Marseille?
so for TEDx Paris, I was not responsible for selecting people, the speaker. But when they choose the themes, they will go searching, the elite, the best one of the topic that can go on the themes. It requires a big networks and great coaches. The chance to meet 2 3 really grand coaches, because scientists, when the first thing when they took the micro for the first one, it's like they spread lots of time, like 30 minutes, only one
Mm,
question. But TEDx, it's 7 minutes. And when you spread something, it's one word, black shadow. It's not conference in science conference. So the selection was that they search the elites, they go to find them, ask them what they can see, what not, if they are interesting, because it's not easy to go on stage all over thousands of people. So it was large, but thanks their network. We have speaker, very scientist, more general, and we have also, like we say, carte blanche, white card. So, for example, we have singer at the end of the TEDx. So they don't respect the 7 minutes, but it's the white card and you can do what you want. We have big sportsmen which do not have no harms, no bra and no harms. And it's not the ocean, it's the sea at the north of France. And they go
wow.
from France to England, for example. So this one is very generic. You have a scientist which was specialist on gas. There were a polemic at a time that when you open a letter, you can have a gas that you kill you. So he was specialized on
Okay.
that. We have a big sonographer. So it was very large, more or less scientific. In TEDx Aix-Marseille Université, it was the first. When we obtain this license, the first license it's for 1 year, and you have the right to make one event, but you have 1 year to launch it. So we search themes that can speak to everyone. And we said, okay, and I embark a collaborator with me, a young woman which is passionate by that, because my manager said, I'm okay with it, but it doesn't have to take me time. So as soon as you manage all the things, no problem. But you have to deal with the other things. And I say, okay, no problem, I will. So I am back my collaborator, and we say, okay, we have to find the themes and the scientists that come for me as a project in Africa, in poor country. In fact, he is a surgeon and they help women to give birth, to deliver.
Hmm.
And there are lots of blood problem, when you deliver.
Sure.
You have times and you have lots of blood, and you have to sew them, to have surgery. And the problem in Africa is that you have the surgeon, but you don't have the materials and the tools because it's too expensive. And they discovered that with cotton thread, you can sew the woman, and cotton thread is very cheap. So with
Hmm.
this, he managed to save lots of women when they deliver.
Wow.
And we say, okay, so with these little things, they have many repercussions. And we
Hmm.
search the theme from the spark to the light, like
Okay.
the butterfly effect.
Right.
So it's large themes. And after we said, okay, we will launch some things to do. We wanted to have as women and men. It was very important for us to have the balance between two.
Sure.
And we search, and we wanted to have students too that be speaker, and we
Hmm.
search that teams that can speak to everyone. So for example, we have a young sportive woman which make the qualifications for the Olympic. Well,
Wow.
she didn't participate, but she can speak about this sportive mentality. And when you are little and you begin your study, you think you are talented in something and you become a mondial champion. It's
Hmm.
something. We have searcher, which is also a teacher that spoke about women and men equality.
Hmm.
We have a dean of the faculty of law that spoke about international laws. We have artificial intelligence by a former students, so all students of Aix-Marseille University. We have another one that have an invisible handicap, autistic spectre, and
Hmm.
she built a room dedicated to help other students in the same case of her. So it was very large, but we didn't ask too many people. In fact, we have in mind what we wanted to speak about, and we make some research and we go to the person. If it's okay, it's okay. If it's not okay, we search for other things because we are too big to launch and apply. And when I was selected as a TEDx organizer on TEDx website, I received like 5 or 10 demand per day to participate
Hmm.
to this event. But we say no, we will only take people that are from Aix-Marseille University. We
Hmm.
wanted to promote our community for our
Right.
community, And finally, they took bigger, bigger space. It was that.
That's
So it
awesome.
was, voilà.
And how did your expectations of putting it together compare with what actually ended up happening as a TEDx organizer?
In fact, we hired a great coach. But in Aix-Marseille University, we have a scientific conference like that. You can say that it's a challenge between university consortium. It's doctorants that speak and have to present their thesis 180 seconds. And we take the coach for this because the guy know how to get people to keep them in a chronometer, in a time,
Hmm.
in a precise time. So in fact, when we have the speaker, someone doesn't want to be coached
Hmm.
because they don't have time, because they think they didn't need, and so on and so on. And we have to deal with personalities. And I can admit now that with the coach in my collaborator, we say, hola, does does the event will have sense? Does all have the same guideline, have the same red line, have the same way of going? Do the people will see that there is a link between all of them? And finally, we make a final release 2 days before, and it works. It works because even when the people who don't count because of their planning, so we can read it, we can imagine it, we can modify certain words. We can have a look also at the presentation of the people who wanted to present on PowerPoint, and it was very important for us because we wanted that all have the same mask, but they play the game.
Hmm.
And even if we have a location that is full, more than 100 people, because finally we opened at 200 because we know that not all are coming, but we have more than 500 at the end. We have 1,000 people who wanted to come, and we say, oh
Wow.
no, we are wait, and does it work? How can we manage that? And we have the good surprise that it works. because they play the game. When we contact us, we send us several TEDx speak that is emblematic for us, the guideline, the charter, because when you have the license, you receive a pack with guidelines and what you need. So we send them, and we have them by phone or in real life. We met all of them, and some needed several points, and other that have the habit to take a micro. In fact, they don't need coach, and it's okay because finally it works. They respect what we ask. And the things when we have, I think, more afraid is when we have the chance that in the university is big. So we have lots of location. We have lots of room that can allow 100 people. But you have to have a room with enough light to record the speech, enough places, not too far from the city, and so on. And we found it one in Aix-en-Provence, and there were a big catastrophe in this room that the stage fall totally.
No
So
way.
we
Wow.
didn't have room. It was 3 weeks before the event, and we, as a deputy manager, I have lots of network in the university. So I launch a SOS. Who can welcome us? And we found a place at the very short time, like 1 week before, and it works. It works, and all were success. We were very very satisfied.
Are you going to organize another one?
If I have the opportunity, yes. Actually, I'm moving from the university. I will join another company, and I know that in my interview they ask me about this experience and if I can make another, and I said yes with pleasure because it's a great adventure. You meet people, fantastic people with knowledge, with beliefs, with opinions, and who wants to change the world. And it's very, yes, I can do another. I can. And if I didn't leave the university, I know that I will test to make another one in the university because you apply for 1 year, so you can make another one. Yes, definitely, yes.
And for the students that
Mm,
spoke at your TEDx event, what was
mm.
the impact for them going from not being a speaker to becoming a TEDx speaker? What change did you notice in them?
But for example, the young woman with the invisible handicap, we saw them very expand herself. So now she's more active in the social networks. She used the TEDx as a reference, and she continue her research and her goals to make move the university to include handicapped people. It gave her like confidence, more power for her. It's not easy because when you have such an handicap, it's not easy. And for the young sportive, we can say that it helps her to speak about the defeat. You have success and sometimes not. And
Hmm.
it's difficult for young women to not go to an event. You can't because you are hurt.
Hmm.
You have a problem, a physical problem. So it's not your
Sure.
fault. You don't go like you want, so you don't finish at the first place. And it allows them to accept to become even more big thanks
Hmm.
to speak about that. She was already, because when you make sports, you have to learn. When you are not the first one, okay, you learn. It's not a
Hmm.
problem. You will manage to become the first one, and you will be the first, and another time you will be the fourth, and it's the cycle. But she can speak about that with very honesty, and that's what we're very great with students. That it's fresh, it's honest, it's simple, and we saw them very convinced by what they say. And I follow her on LinkedIn, and now she
Hmm.
have many sponsored, and even she speaks about the TEDx. She's like proud
Hmm.
of having taking part of this event, and it's great.
Sounds like it was kind of like a launch pad for her to build her speaking future off of.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's very
What?
cool. We saw them growing
Hmm.
like a child.
So I'm going to lean on you for this question because you obviously have a way more intricate and detailed understanding of the French culture than I do.
Mm,
Which TEDx talk, individual, not event, but specific talk, is the most viral, most well known TEDx talk ever given in France, and why do you think it went so viral?
I don't have the title, but for me, it was the one about this gas in TEDx Paris. This gas can kill people. When you open a letter, you smell and you die. And this scientist was very. It was dramatic, but not too much. So we were very impacted in this speech, and
Mm,
he make like comparison with the Holocaust, which was
sure.
a very hard period in France. So it was something very touching. This one, and the one also with this sportive men who don't have arms or bra and go from France to England.
Hmm.
It was something, I don't know how to say that, but brilliant. I was admiring them. It was the two one.
So he,
uh,
see, this guy swam from France, like the Bay of Biscay, all the way to England with no
mm,
arms. Did I understand that
yeah,
right?
yeah, but he
Wow.
have prostheses and he can swim.
Okay. Wow. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, crazy. This
Yeah.
one is was crazy, so it touched me. And the one about the gas touched me because they remind of story, they remind of other things that can pass in the world. And I understand, the scientific process to put the gas in the envelope and so on. So if I can select two.
And you've seen a bunch of TEDx talks in person. You've seen TEDx Paris, TEDx Marseille. I think there's one
Mm.
other one you mentioned. What is one piece of advice that you would give speakers that they're about to get on a TEDx stage? They want to give a TEDx talk. What advice would you give them from all your TEDx experience, having been an organizer of one of them and then volunteered at a few other ones?
I can advise them to watch at a real TED, not TEDx, a real TED. It's only
Hmm.
American and Canadian. Watch
Okay.
like this because it's 7 minutes. 7 minutes, it's short. You have to convince in 7 minutes. And after, make some research about your themes. And the important is to look at other TEDs to be inspired and to not hesitate to contact, because on the TEDx website you have all the people which are referenced. So don't
Hmm.
hesitate to take contacts and to ask what is to be a speaker, what is to be an organizer. Because when you are in this way of going to organize a TEDx or to participate at TEDx or TED, you want to spread your knowledge. You want to make the things move. So you always respond and help someone with this question. So if I have an advice, is that. And
Hmm.
if I can advise other things. For example, we have another TED at Aix-Marseille University that comes at the same time of us. It was TEDx IAE, Aix-Marseille Université. It's a component, it's a faculty, which is part of the group. And this event was organized by a student herself. Very big event. It was a success. I don't have anything to say about that, but they allow the speakers to be on stage for 18 minutes. Like I said, regarding the license, you can be on stage 7, 10, 18 minutes. And I say to her, 18 minutes, it's too much. So when you are a TEDx speaker, always, for me, make less than 10 minutes. It's enough to convince, and more, it's too much. You will have too much details and you won't convince. Even more in France, where it's more general audience, you can't be
Hmm.
very specific. So that was my two advice. Be
Awesome.
short
Awesome.
and take affirmations.
Love it. Well, you've been dropping a lot of value here, Anouk. Where can listeners find you if they have any questions for you? What social medias or which websites can they reach
Oh,
out to you at?
they can contact me on LinkedIn. It's the easiest way to have me because I'm on Facebook and so on, but you have to ask me and so on. LinkedIn it's more easy because it's open to everyone. Also on Instagram, but Instagram it's more, leisure. So
Yeah.
speaker won't recognize me. So they can go on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn is on my name, Anouk Rizzo, and they will see that I made a TEDx. So no problem for me. And I think on the TEDx website, you will have also my email. So if they found my email, also I can respond them. But the easiest way is the LinkedIn one, like we met together, in fact.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's how I reached out to her, guys. Was I
Mm,
just sent her a DM on LinkedIn.
mm.
Well, Anouk, as normally I would say thank you very much for your time, but I'm gonna try to say this in French. Merci beaucoup for your time. How do you say for your time? Pour trois
Pour votre
temps?
temps. Pour votre
Oui,
temps.
exact.
Yeah.
pour avoir du temps.
Yeah,
That.
exactly.
Well, we'll be in contact, and guys, if you have any questions or you found this valuable, you can both reach out to her to get direct answers from her, or just share this episode with her. Leave a review. The only way we grow this podcast. We are grassroots. And guys, thanks for listening. Anouk, merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
Thank you for listening.